Welcome back here to Fox and Friends. Well, President Obama is heading to the Gulf today to tour the largest oil spill in our nation's history. While some say this could be President Obama's Katrina, others say it could be much worse. In fact, it took President Bush 4 days to visit Katrina, while President Obama took 12 days to get to the Gulf. By law, the state of Louisiana was responsible for the cleanup of Katrina. But because the oil spill happened in federal waters, the law holds that Washington is responsible for cleaning up this oil spill. And the state of Louisiana has been waiting 18 days for a response from the federal government to their request for those barrier berms, which could block the flow of oil into wetlands and marshes. And finally, the federal government has been even slower in responding to Louisiana's request for dispersants not to be used below the water because it could be devastating to the marine fisheries there. Now, both Republicans and Democrats are losing patience with the president.
We're tired of the excuses, Mr. President. It's time to live up to your obligation under the law. Help us protect our marsh. If you don't have a plan, we do, but you're not letting us implement our plan.
They could be deploying people to the coast right now. He could be with the Corps engineers and the Coast Guard with these people in Plaquemines Parish doing something about these regulations. These people are crying. They're begging for something down here, and it just looks like he's not involved in this. Man, you got to get down here and take control of this, put somebody in charge of this thing, and get this thing moving. We're about to die down here.
So what does this mean for the president? On the panel today, attorney and legal analyst Jami Floyd, New York Post columnist Robert George, and the chair of the Independent Women's Forum, Heather Higgins. Welcome all this morning. Jami, you hear James Carville there fired up about it. That's a Democrat, one of the leading strategists for the Democratic Party on many, many different presidential elections. When he's yelling at the president, something's wrong.
Well, James is always fired up. And, you know, let's break this down. First of all, there's a distinction between the spill itself and containment, right? To compare this to Katrina, which was a failure of the federal government to prevent that flood. This is a BP disaster. This happened after a decade or more of Republican deregulation of the industry.
Wait.
Of all industry.
But Jami, to be fair, a year on President Obama's watch. Of all
industry.
Robert,
wait. Let me finish my thought, okay? And so it happens on President Obama's watch. And then there's the containment issue. And that is what we're talking about now, the response. And so President Obama was lied to by BP. The American people were lied to about BP, about the extent of this spill, and the world was lied to by BP. And so now the president responds.
I'm willing to.
You don't agree that we were lied to by BP?
Hold on a second, Jami. Let's get Robert.
I'm willing to make the argument. The things like Afghanistan and the financial crisis, blah blah blah. That if this administration wants to blame it on Bush, fine. Those things actually.
I'm not blaming it on Bush. It goes way before Bush. Way before Bush. This goes back to
when they're actually now starting to talk about the whole regulatory environment, again trying to push blame back to the previous administration, it just doesn't work. The fact is here, BP definitely responsible for the actual, the explosion and things of that nature. The issue here, and that's what Carville is talking about, is what is the federal government doing to stop the actual major damage of the spill itself?
Okay, Heather, that's the real question.
Louisiana has these suggestions of what to do with it.
We have Bobby Jindal.
And the federal government's doing nothing.
We have Governor Bobby Jindal of Louisiana asking repeatedly for these requests for these berms, the additional berms down there. He's not gotten the federal response.
No, Jindal should be saying, I am doing this, the hell with you, take me to jail, put on the waiters, and go lead the charge with the sandbags. And say, this is one more example of the federal government not being able to get its act together. There are groups of people, the mindset of utopians, Lilliputians, and regulators who believe in something called the precautionary principle, that if you just regulate it enough and put enough rules on it, you can somehow make the cement dry right and prevent the blowout preventer from
what I don't understand.
Can I have my turn? Thank you. So the problem here is that we now have, as part of the solution to fixing this problem, that we're going to have this moratorium on all drilling, not just on permits for new deepwater wells, but also
we're going to continue. See that sign there? We're almost out of time on this topic. We're going to carry it over. We're going to come back and talk about it after the break.
Do we want government or do we not want government?
Hold on, Jami. We'll be right back after the break.
Effective government, not government that's taking everything over.
Secretary of State.
So you want to take over now?
Hold on a second, guys. We're going to take a break. Then we'll come back. Welcome back. Yes, we were continuing talking through the entire break. We are back with our panel this morning, Jami Floyd, Robert George, and Heather Higgins. Heather, you were making a point about this sets up the Obama administration really to sort of push his agenda now, which is cap and trade. Even though a few weeks prior to this blowout, we were hearing from the administration that we wanted to drill baby drill, basically. Now this is pushing his agenda to end, or push for cap and trade and end offshore drilling.
Yes, this is a crisis is a terrible thing to waste mode, because either this is a horrible political overreaction or it's an opportunity to implement a series of policies that the left has been very eager to see. There is no justification for cutting off approved drilling that has been through all sorts of environmental assessment in Alaska. There's no justification for putting a moratorium on the shallow water drilling, which Senator Landrieu has said is going to cost 5,000 jobs. It's going to move the deep water drilling ships away, so they're not even available. I mean, there's huge economic damage. And remember, the left likes $5 oil.
I'll partly agree with Heather in the sense that sure, they're definitely trying to use this to push the energy policy, cap and trade, things like that. The irony is, though, Obama actually had wanted to do a little bit more drilling, and he was getting pushback from the left, and now the left is actually pushing that to try and force the administration
to abandoning
the drilling idea.
So what if we push an agenda that's a good agenda?
It's a
bad agenda.
The point is, there have been 3,000 deepwater wells drilled safely in the Gulf. Because of one, you're now totally changing.
Well, what about to the argument, Heather, and Jamie, you can answer this, that there have been some criticism about other oil rigs in the Gulf. In fact, 60 Minutes cataloging a separate rig that, in fact, was actually worse than the Deepwater Horizon. Is it a tempest in the teapot?
I think we have to get back to this ridiculous analogy to Katrina. Ridiculous analogy to Katrina. And the suggestion that deregulation has nothing to do with what's happened here in the Gulf. The suggestion that somehow the Obama administration is responsible for what's happened here. I understand your concern and the absolutely understandable concern about containment. But this explosion is all on BP. And it's on the industry. It is not on the Obama administration.
Let's be clear about something.
And those on the right are trying to place us on
Let's be clear about something with President Obama. President Obama has made the message continually that government can help you. Government can help you and fix your ills. However, when we have a situation like this, wait a second. We're government, but you know what BP has to do to fix it.
I hear Heather clearly crying for government to come in and help.
Excuse me. There are things that are the government's purview.
Thank you very much.
Granting permission for certain things. So, for example, they were asked to grant permission to burn off the oil while it was still on the surface before it dropped to the bottom and before it became a problem. He would not grant permission. Then when the oil started to sink below, and if I can finish this, there was a request to use dispersants under the water. That's going to affect the marine fisheries.
And this shows another problem with the left. One of the reasons why the dispersants aren't being in there is they're locked in by the environmentalists who don't want the dispersants in there. And on top of that, BP feels intimidated for more lawsuits if they try.
We've got to leave it there.
This is not a right-left issue. This is not a right-left issue.
Well, that's right. The left and the right are both.
But it also comes down to what can government do in a situation like this, guys. We got to leave it there. Great discussion this morning. This gets you fired up for your grilling this weekend for Memorial Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Robert, Heather, and Jamie.